After a hectic week here at the United Nations Climate Summit, I would love to share a few impressions. Firstly, we have really struggled very hard, not only in WFO, but in several other agricultural organizations, to get agriculture included in a climate agreement, the one that was supposed to follow the Kyoto Protocol, which turned out to be the Paris Agreement. And it is actually very strange how all of a sudden agriculture and food systems took the main focal point of the debates, and somehow how farmers are these days blamed for everything that's going wrong in our food systems for as far as emissions go. What's even more strange is that amongst all this hype, all the discussions about agriculture and about farmers, very few people, very few institutions actually involved farmers in these discussions. It's a lot of talking about farmers without the farmers. Any new development in agriculture comes with its challenges, mainly technology, knowledge, and of course financing. And these three elements stand central to a farmer's approach to climate change. It cannot be expected from the primary producers alone to carry the burden of the kinds of investment which had been discussed here at the United Nations, to ensure that we as farmers tread a little lighter across our fields and leave lesser footprints on our pastures. Although farmers draw most of the lightning in the debate on food systems and everything that allegedly is wrong with it, it is our use of fertilizers, crop protection, mechanization that actually draws most of it. In that sense, the focus is not only on the farmer, but on the whole food chain. It's only that the farmers are in the first trenches of this battle. So somehow, we are picking up the bill also for the other agro-industries upstream in the value chain. This is why it is so important that we partner up with the industry bodies for fertilizers, for agrochemicals, for mechanization, for financing, etc., to come up with a farmers-driven approach. It's not that we should stop using fertilizers or crop protection. It's just that we need to do it smarter. In some areas of the world, we need to use more fertilizer and more crop protection in order to enhance food security, but also to work against deforestation and to ensure that in the effort to have enough food on the table of all farming families and communities, villages, we do not do more forestation, but that we produce more on less and with less. In this regard, it is very important that we educate newcomers to the industry and smallholder farmers on the wise use of fertilizers, mechanization, and agrochemicals. The industry bodies themselves should come to the table and assist with better science, best practices, and with the education process itself. They should actually get to our farmers to teach them how to use their products better. Whilst in other parts of the world, it is true that too much of certain fertilizers has already caused some damage to water systems and to soils. As farmers, we live very close to nature, closer than anyone else in the world. We are the ones who are delivered to the weather, working in the sun and rain and in the wind. We are the ones whose production processes are most threatened by fire and by disaster. Hence, for centuries, farmers have been involved in mitigating and adaptation to climate phenomena. Climate change does not mean that we all of a sudden now will have disasters, floods and droughts and winds. We've always had it. It's only that there are so many more of those now, and so much intenser. That's why we as farmers need to roll up our sleeves and do something about it. We are most vulnerable to climate change. But the discussions at the United Nations, at SAPSTA, at COP, is planets far away from the reality on farm level. And it is from this frustration that the World Farmers Organization decided to partner up with literally every other farmers organization we could find on this planet and industry bodies elsewhere in the value chain to come up with a farmers-driven approach to climate change, which we call the Climakers. Climakers as a program is simply about workshops in every corner of the earth. We have just had one in the Caribbean. We will very soon have one in Western Europe. At these workshops, we basically ask two very simple questions. What can we do to mitigate and adapt to climate change? And secondly, what will it take to get it done? Farmers learn more from other farmers than from anyone else. And the idea is to ensure that we exchange experiences, that we can see what outcomes, what practices that is used in certain parts of the world can also be employed in others. It is also very important that the process remain science-led, and one of our partners, CCAFS, ensures from workshop to workshop that our interaction speaks to the best available science out there. So Climakers is both nature-driven and science-driven. To get from the Climakers program is basically the wisdom and the experience and the expertise of farmers across the globe on what works for them on farm level. We hope to mine for those nature-based solutions. Farmers do have the solutions because they have survived in each corner of the world for centuries. And we know that the solutions they would come up with in Oceania will not be the same ones that will work for North America, or those from Asia will not be the same as those for Africa. But for sure, there's a lot we can exchange and learn from each other. But more important, farmers will have the ownership of these solutions. And being science-based and nature-based, we firmly believe that we can get to a dispensation where the way in which we produce food and fiber can be more nature-friendly and climate-friendly. And that in the process in which we pass on knowledge from generation to generation, part of the heritage of the next generation will be how to farm smarter and how to ensure that nature survives along with agriculture.